Hell yeah. I mean, I guess I could just like put our shot on. And then I gotta come here to go hear the questions. We are live. I'm not using your new emote, Tam Cardwell. I felt like it was appropriate to have it. That I didn't give her the background. It looks ugly. I think it's it's so easy the way that I play the game to be like, this is on a 5, 6, 7, play the card. As soon as I say that, I just like see snickering in the chat, and I'm like, obviously we're gonna give them an emote so that when I say the word 6, 7, they could just go crazy with it, so that they can have fun. It's just also easy because there was a 7 different Guilty Gear that like those are the Guilty Gear 6, 7 difficulties. So just made it like the company gave it to me. They just gave it to me. It's pretty dope. It's also like how I play the game of just like I over explain things for the people at home. And it's funny because I do it in person as well. Like I make sure that my game state. Oh, we can't hear Barrett. Talking in for me? We can't hear Barrett. Why can't we hear Barrett? You're coming through on my end. Oh, I see. No. It is on my end. It is on my end. Hey, okay. Talking in for me?
Hey, what up?
Perfect. So, let me tell you about my setup. Okay, we'll just turn into a big long thing. These two monitors are Rebby's old monitors that were way nicer than my monitors, but her new job gave her 2 brand new monitors, and they're even nicer than those. So, my Tam, can you turn on closed captioning? I'm at dinner and can't listen. I can't do that. It's just not a thing I can do.
I think YouTube has them by default if you go there.
Not on live streams, but when the live stream is done, their AI will do it post stream. My right screen is back to being that TV that I used to have at TCGU. That was the confidence monitor. Do you remember that? No, that's okay. But I can play audio out of that, and so when I am doing things, when I'm just like working, instead of having in my headphones, I play it out of here. OBS is set to listen to the audio through the computer rather than these speakers. I had it on these speakers. Discord is through these speakers, and so Discord, I could hear you on Discord, but OBS could not hear you because the computer was still going through the thing. It's a bunch. It's a lot. Do you need me? No? Okay. Okay.
I see you have stuff on your wall. It's in a bad spot, though.
It's in a bad spot? I think it's fine. There's not a better spot for it.
Not even to the left slightly,
No,
so it's in your...
Because you can see that when I go to the main shot, it like isn't there. Like it can move over like maybe a few inches, right? But like,
yeah, I just can't see Godzilla's face. It's hiding behind the chair. If you moved it ever so slightly to the left,
yeah,
I could see Godzilla's ego rare, from behind you.
Sure. My issue with it is like I think it looks okay now as like the center frame. If I move it to the left, right, this spot here will have a hole, right, and it's even more so on the main camera.
I can see it.
yeah.
I'm looking, but you could
Division.
put something small there.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm glad you changed the shot because I definitely spilled Coke all over me. And chat didn't have to see it.
That's funny.
You can definitely see the stain away shirt though.
You want to go change?
No, it's okay. It's real. We're humans. We make mistakes.
What? Okay. Do I need to take it out now? I am. But I can have Barrett just vibe. Barrett, I'll be back.
I can babysit. I can babysit. What up, chat? You're in my house now.
Is Tam ready to lose to me at the Stark Dark? Yes, I'm gonna lose to everybody.
As we open some Riftbound, and there's a box. It's not really in my shot. It's right there. Oh, I can't. I have no idea how to do this. There it is. You can barely see it. I gotta open that tomorrow. Play in a Riftbound event between launch and regional qualifiers, and these emotes will slide into your Riot account. Oh my gosh. I get stuff on my League of Legends account. Bear, are you or were you involved in the making of the Street Fighter Part 2 decks? Yeah, that was me, man. They let me do the first ones. Sorry. So the first one, I designed all the cards, but I didn't do any of the admin work to specify. So like communicating with licensors and all the parts after the design team is done, I didn't do any of that. Because they let me do that initial design of the first ones, for the second ones, I did everything. Like obviously I still had like an overseer, I still had like a lead designer that like made sure I got all my deadlines done, but I did do everything. So yeah, that one's on me.
Okay. Yeah.
Can you put your clothes in bins?
Where?
They're just everywhere.
Sure. What bin?
There's a bin outside the bathroom. Do you want this? For your office?
Good shit. I hope so. We're gonna find out if people hate them. Find out.
I think you must have just I think you must have done it.
Still surprised Street Fighter 6 isn't getting a full set, to be honest. I'm sure there's a bunch of reasons why and all, but where's the but? What's after the but? Yeah, I mean, I think regardless, the point that matters is like we're continuously maintaining relationships with Capcom. So let your mind wander about that, I guess. So if we get more decks or a set or a different Capcom IP, the point is that as long as we maintain a good relationship with them, it doesn't really matter, I guess. Yeah. I get that some people want it as a set, though. I'm happy as long as I get to do something, right? It's better than not having it at all.
True.
Tam, I think your mic swapped.
You think my mic swapped on Discord?
Yeah.
Must be. It is not. But well, now it definitely swapped.
Yes.
And now it is back to being where it was. Thoughts?
Better.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
You're back to the old you.
Lovely.
Actually, the real surprise is Tekken 8 full set, considering Bandai Namco is technically a competitor to UVS. Sure, but like video game IP, different people we talk to about getting rights to take pictures and use pictures and stuff from their video games than what they do for card games, right? Like those are two different people you have to talk to. But I understand where you're coming from. So, like, for example, Konami. We all know Konami. Konami owns Yu-Gi-Oh! So obviously talking to Konami about rights to do a Yu-Gi-Oh! Set is probably out of the question because we are a direct competitor. But that doesn't mean that you can't, like, make a relationship with Konami's video game properties. So as I scroll very quickly, Silent Hill, Metal Gear. I don't know any of these. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Cowabunga Collection. Well, I've not heard of any of these games. Maybe this is a bad example for me to pick. Dance Dance Revolution, the Universus set. I'm in. Okay, I might have picked a bad company. But the point being is, like, obviously Konami has their own card game, but unless we're not, like, we don't have to go for the Konami
2 seconds to stop.
card game. We can go for something else that Konami owns, and they're different people that you talk to, right? DR would be sick. I just want to see a Full Metal Alchemist set, and then I'll be happy. Who owns Full Metal Alchemist? Full Metal Alchemist. The manga's published by Square Enix. It's crazy. Viz Media, Yen Press for the manga.
Okay, I'm back. I'm back for real.
And then who did the anime? Anime series. Bones. Good old Bones. Who did Brotherhood? Also Bones. Produced. Okay. So yeah, I mean, it just kind of depends. Funimation, North America, sure. Aniplex. Yeah. Let me put y'all on peak. Boseki no Kuni is a Kodansha property.
What's the?
Boseki no Kuni.
Oh, that's from Gavin. Okay, I was like, Barrett, you're gonna have to sell me on
Land of
it.
the Lustrous. Land of the Lustrous. I have not heard of this one.
Okay.
Some of the trading post guys were trying to sell me on a different one. Hopefully somebody here knows what I'm talking about. Okay. I'm gonna describe an anime. I need chat to tell me which one it is. It is an anime that is episodic.
One Piece.
And bro, that's not what I mean by episodic. And every couple of episodes, they change the perspective of the story to a different. I'm going to use the word superhero, but I don't think they're superheroes. I think they're just like fighters. And it leads all the way until the last episode. Yeah, there it is. Someone immediately knew. It's a 2B Hero X. Yeah, they were trying to sell me on this one. 2B Hero X. Yeah, see, nailed it. Yeah, someone was like, we should get this for Universus, but I have no idea what it is. I was right. It is superheroes. Okay.
Is it like a 3D anime? I'm seeing weird 3D stuff.
It might be. It might just be. Media.
To be
It's
Hero
the third.
X Wiki.
It's the third installment of To Be Hero.
Was this in Atlanta? I remember maybe hearing that conversation behind me.
No, this was on Discord a couple like last week or earlier this week. They were just saying how it's a very, very good anime, and you know, the superhero theme, the same idea of how like My Hero fits really well into like what we do for Universus. How they were saying it's just very good, and it has very, very focused in on characters that could very easily fill in a character roster. Obviously, they're superheroes, so it's very, you know, shonen fighting type thing. So they just said it was a very good candidate for something like that. It's just, you know, I didn't know how popular it was, and I had never heard of it. Sounds like a similar premise, but Paranoia Agent is epic too. Each episode has a different main character, and they all have a central conflict. Justin has been really in on it and try to get dispatched, which is cool. Gotcha.
Not to spoil anything, but a character's power actually shifts the animation style. That sounds dope.
I mean, that's like what Demon Slayer does. When Demon Slayer and they activate like their breathing techniques, it changes to like that Japanese like iconic ink splatter paint style.
Yeah.
That's what happens in Demon Slayer when they use their
like Okami.
Powers. Yeah, actually exactly like that. But it is colorized based off of whatever their breathing technique is.
That's cool. And what was this? This was, you said Demon Slayer?
That was Demon Slayer. Yeah, that their powers change the animation style, and they've been doing it. A lot of animes do it now, honestly. Even like Chainsaw Man, they just very much like crank up the frames and change the animation style whenever there's like a big fight or power happening.
Yeah.
Like One Piece is doing it now, and they started doing it really in the Wano arc. So a lot of animes are like leaning towards doing that kind of treatment.
Okay.
Vague, a mild spoiler about Land of Lustrous to get you interested. It's on some Attack on Titan type stuff where the main character becomes less than good. What do you mean? Eren Yeager did nothing wrong. Webb's listening. He says, so To Be Hero X literally goes 3D and then back to hand drawn. So it's
That's
like
cool.
it's like universe switching is the way that he describes it.
That's cool. Chat. Currently, I have a singular question from somebody, but I'm down to just yap with my friend Barrett for an hour. If you guys have any questions, make sure that you get them in via the correct channels, i.e. ask a question over here on Twitch and / or did you find some? What happened there? What was that?
That's my Fury rune I opened.
How'd you get packs?
Well, so the starter decks come with a pack each in them. I opened those up. I have a box. Do you not see this box right here? I have to
No.
open this box tomorrow.
No, I did not.
I know chat can't really see it.
That's
It's
so
barely
sick.
in my, but like, yeah, my stuff from work came in. And you ready? I'm not making it a content piece like you did, but like, I'm very much embracing my. I'm essentially, I have one of every product. I have a Proving Grounds. I have one booster box, and I have one of each of the starter decks, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna play. I'm gonna go to my locals, and I'm gonna grind, and I'm gonna attempt to play the game at the most like bare bones way possible. We'll see how long it lasts until I'm just like, I would like to own all the cards, please. But I have opened my 3 packs,
Mm-hmm.
and I've already augmented my starter decks. And so,
Did you do that on camera?
no, like I said, I'm not making a content piece for it.
Oh, okay.
Like opening them? No, I don't care about that.
This would be very cool as a content piece for you to, you don't got to open anything on camera, but explain this situation and then be like, hey, here's what I've done. Here's week 1 of my road to whatever. I get to have these 4 products, and then anything that I win off of prize support at the locals. If I win 2 packs, they're part of the collection, right? They're part of the thing. And then you could do 2 time a week updates of this is what's going into the event, and then here's what came out of the event. I think a video like that, with like a small 3-round tournament update would be really interesting for people. And like you make the deck on some website and you're like, this is what I've added, this is what I have, here's what I don't have, blah 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 blah. I think that's very easily like a 30 minutes of your time, cut it down to 20 minutes if you want to do retakes or whatever, and just like you could get to one take Jake that like pretty easy with some the smallest amount of cutting and pasting.
It's more so for me coping with the fact that I don't think I want to throw a ton of money in right away.
Yeah.
So I'm just rolling with it. I don't really care to make a content piece for it because I'm not going to be consistent at locals because I have to travel for work and I'm just not going to be there.
Yeah.
It's more so for me of just like, I don't want somebody to like say, oh, I'm not getting into Riftbound because I can't get any product. And I go, broskies, I've opened 3 packs and I have taken a starter deck and I have augmented it, and that's all I've done. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and like just showing people that you can obviously, like, I think we as competitive card gamers are so close to being near other competitive card gamers that people forget that you can just do something casually.
Totally.
And that's exactly. And so I just want to be like the walking example of like, hey, do you want to come join our pod for 4-player Riftbound? And I go, yeah, absolutely. And I go, just so you know, this is a starter deck with a couple extra cards thrown.
Yeah.
You know, like the same thing you do when you sit down for Commander. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I go, this is not going to be min-maxed exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I built this.
I can tell you, if I had your setup, I would do it in a heartbeat. But I just like, I own 0 Riftbound cards, and I don't know when I will.
That's
right?
just not the content I want to produce on my channel.
Yeah.
I already did a video this week, and I have another one coming out tonight, which is like not consistent content that I want to keep doing. But somebody asked me to do it, and I said I will do it for you because you are a friend of mine. Which is essentially, I made a video that says, "Hey, so you bought a Proving Grounds product. and this came out earlier this week. So I'm gonna shill my own channel.
Yeah.
I made a video and it said, "Hey, you bought a Proving Grounds product, which comes with 4 pre-made decks. Here's a quick breakdown on what those decks do. Here's what they do well, what they don't do well, and here's a list of commons and uncommons that we are going to level your deck up."
Yeah.
So again, just this idea of like, oh, I can't get booster packs or I can't get product. That's baloney. Go get some commons and uncommons, and these cards are dramatically going to level up your experience. So I made a video for that for the Proving Grounds decks. I have another one coming out tonight that will be the 3 starter decks as well. Again, I don't plan on doing this very often because that's not what.
I think doing it once a set just to the starter decks is like that's what every 4 months you would have to make a video like this. I think it's a good idea, man. I think it's dope.
So I went to go grab them.
You're so excited.
I mean, I think it's just
Dude,
fun.
I want to play
so
games with you on TTS so bad.
I know, but I can't play on TTS.
I know.
So like, here's the Victor deck, and also because it's a multi-deck game, I can use my Weeb sleeves that I've saved up from my lifelong passion of playing Weeb card games. But like, the idea here is like, so this is just the deck, but like Vanguard Captain and Faithful Manufacturer are 2 commons that I opened from my 3 packs that don't exist inside the decks that do exactly what Victor wants to do.
Yeah,
so like,
weenies.
Just shove them in, right? And take out some of the not as good cards. So again, all the rest of this, cookie cutter, it's the same, yada, yada, yada. Like, the deck only comes with 2 Stupefies. Obviously, if I open a 3rd Stupefy, I'm going to put it in. The deck doesn't come with Daring Poros. I opened 2 of them, and I shoved them in, like, It comes with a couple of these rares. This one specifically, I even, like, swapped a Battlefield that I opened or something that was better, Still keep the all-win con, because how could we not? But stuff like that. So that's exactly what I did. But the point is that I have 3 playable decks, so that if I show up, I'm gonna go to my local game store on Saturday. If I show up and somebody's like, "Yeah, I want to play, but I don't have any decks," hey man, these are as bare bones as you're getting because they're literally the starter decks. A couple of extra cards that don't like throw off what the deck is trying to do.
Yeah.
But I don't think I opened anything like. I don't think I opened like a crazy rare that I was like, I'm gonna put this in here, but I have the cards. Oh, I did. Like, I think this is an example. So like, this deck didn't come with fighter flights. I opened 3 of them across my 3 packs. It's a common. I shoved them in, and then because I had more cards that can like target my own units, I think specifically in the Lee Sin deck, I opened that battlefield that says when you target one of your dudes here, draw a card. It went in the Lee Sin deck, and I took out one of the bad battlefields. Or also, it's like the starter decks. No, sorry, the Proving Ground decks specifically only come with 1 battlefield. So I told, like, I was like, hey, like, if you want to play these, you need to go get more battlefields, The Lee Sin deck, I opened an On Guard and a Defy. They went in. But like, the deck only comes with 2 charms. I get another charm, it's gonna go in. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it kind of simple. And this way I won't feel like I have to own every card and have playset of everything right off the bat.
Yeah. Especially because of like the relationship that you're gonna have with the game,
Correct. Yeah, because I can't play anyway, like I can't compete. I think this is the perfect place for me to kind of settle myself into. But yeah, I mean, I opened my packs and I got a cool Alt-Art rune. That's awesome. Not guaranteed in those little loose packs. But I've even like begun to get some of the stuff for like the Misfortune deck. I opened a Mind Splitter. So so we got that going for us.
Hell yeah.
I lied to you. Jinx deck does come with fighter flights, but we did open 3 more.
Yeah. The alt runes look amazing. Agreed.
They do. Will opened the Calm rune. It's got like the tree in the background.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm so jealous.
I'm
gonna dox him a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
He opened the signed showcase Ari, which is like the 2nd most expensive one. And so I was like, wow, good for you, but
I saw the weekly pack things.
Yeah,
And
the Nexus Knight packs.
yeah, I think those runes look incredible. And I think
Yep.
those runes, like depending on how expensive they are, I would get a playset of those. Like just like 10
Yeah.
of all of them if they
Well,
are like $5 or less. Truthfully,
it's
I think
gonna
they
be
look
like
so
Pokemon,
good.
right? You just pick your favorite one. You really only ever, at least like I would recommend to somebody to own like 12 of each. And the reason I say that is because
Oh, it's 12. Yeah. It's 12, not 10. Sorry.
is like more often than not, you're gonna build a 6-and-6 deck if you're gonna take full advantage. But like if you wanted to build a mono whatever deck,
Yeah.
having the full set of 12 would get you there. Uh, but you know, again, it's just like Pokemon energies of like you can find your favorite style and buy a full set of those or whatever. Uh, it's kind of just up to the player, right? I don't really think it matters a whole lot. I don't care for that kind of stuff if I happen to have them, but like someone that wants to play competitive, fully blinged out Kaisa, like this is more interesting to them. So I'm gonna show up to the store on Saturday, and if people want to trade for this, I will
Yeah.
happily trade and acquire for
Yeah.
other pieces that I don't own,
As
right?
you
So
should.
like
As you should.
that's
For
my
sure.
game plan. Like I said, I've got a full booster box. I'm gonna open up tomorrow, and then we'll see where it goes. So I'm excited. I'm going during the day on Saturday. Like I said, I'll be wearing my Halloween costume because I'm going out afterwards, so it'll be fun. Funny enough, I'm dressed as a cop this year, so Whoop, whoop.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
looking. Give me
ready
a second.
whenever you are.
Give me a sec. Give me a second. If I do this, downloads this. And then...
Oh, the cool thing you said about those Nexus Knights packs, the foilings on the cards that come in there are different than the foilings of the commons and uncommons you can get in the booster packs.
Whoa.
And it's like a rainbow foil, so it's like way prettier. But like for example, I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see. So this is a salvage. This is just an uncommon, and I did open a foil one because when you open your pack, you get 3 foil cards. Is what you're supposed to get.
Yeah.
Which includes it could be a common or uncommon foil or like a battlefield that's foil. But I think you can open something like salvage from one of those Nexus Knight packs. But the foiling is rainbow foil, not this generic one. So like they are just prettier.
Yeah. All right, I've made the world's shoddiest logo for the Tame and Barrett Riftbound Super Show. So we we can.
Is that what you were doing?
Yeah. And you still have a Universus card in your hand. Nothing
I
about
love that for me.
I'll make it clearer next time that we decide to do it. Okay, let's get rocking, and then I technically have before we do, I've got a question on YouTube. We don't have a way to set up an actual thing. I don't want to be on the actual show because I think we've answered this question 2 times on the show, and I refuse to make it a 3rd time. But this will be very, very quick. Zaka Zulu says, "Hi Tam and Barrett, how do you feel about backups in Universus? Are they fair and balanced, or are they too broken for their own good?" The TLDR is backups are very good because they're an entirely new card type, and so in Attack on Titan, specifically, the designers went a little crazy in making them catch up, and so they feel like they are very pushed very quickly, but they've only existed for literally 5 sets. Yes, 5 sets, and so they're going to feel pushed because of how new they are and trying to get them in the running with the rest of the field. And so the answer is they're possibly a little pushed. They're a new card type. The designers are still learning how to move and balance them. I think for the most part they are good, but not too good. There are some outliers with things like Nine Titans is very strong. Beast Titans Rock Barrage is very strong, and the elusive backups, some specific ones, are very strong. So the answer is yes, backups are very good. Should they be banned or whatever? No, I don't necessarily think so, but as the game will progress, it will balance and figure itself out. If you look at the data that exists for large tournaments, I think the only backup deck that is having some major success is Hanj, and Hanj cheats at the game by putting one of the best, potentially, arguably the best backup that exists in the game right now into their stage before the game begins. And so, like,
And even in that
yes.
same conversation, Anj hasn't actually won anything, right?
Correct.
But top cuts, and converts very, very successfully. But the backup deck that has succeeded has only succeeded once and has made a top cut appearance, I think, one other time past that event. And even then, it falls short to other stuff in the format. So I think I agree in the sense of like the backup game plan / archetype is strong enough to play at a competitive level, which is good that there are multiple ways to play. Yes, it has gained a lot of power in a short amount of time because of its creation literally in the middle of last year. So I think that is for sure a reason why you would say, are they fair and balanced, or are they too broken for their own good? Obviously things are getting figured out. But currently it looks okay. And it's not like there aren't built-in answers for them as well, right? You know, things like Violent Animus Shot are incredibly powerful against those decks. Even
There are
just,
answers.
again,
There are answers.
being able to attack them is possible.
Yeah. Okay, give me 1 second. I have to get this brainworm out of my head, or else I will just sit here and think about it the whole time. So I get to do this. I do this, and then I can make you stop. I can make you small.
I'm very small.
No, you're great. You're not small. You're awesome. And now I've alluded small to being awesome. Transition. All right, it's now the Tam Bear Roofbound Super Show. I have a logo. It's official.
We're not talking about Universus today?
No, we are, but when we get a little too long in the tooth about it, I will be able to, it's just on the screen. And so now I can turn it off and we're back to the Universus Super Show. Okay. Yes. I need it for the bit. Okay. I've officially clicked the button. I get to say, yo, what up? How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Tam Bear Universus Super Show, not the Tam and Barrett Riftbound Super Show. My name's Tam. I'm joined here by Barrett and you, the third cast member. That's right. This is a call-in radio show where we want to hear from you about you and your Universus experience. Come and ask us a UVS question, though. You can do that in one of two ways. Number one, ask a question over on Twitch, twitch.tv/TamCardwell, using your hard-earned channel points. I don't have a way to set it up on YouTube. I am looking into it, but it's not going to happen. But ask questions in the chat. Use these. This is how you get our attention. But that is a second-class way to do it if you want to come and be on the show, which is the preferred way to come join me over on Discord. Over in my Discord, and open a ticket, ask a question, come be on the show, and let's all three of us have a conversation. Would love to have you. So my first question is actually from somebody, and I didn't prep this beforehand like a baddie. I was too busy making a dumb logo. Is a question from Hardware UVS in the chat. This would be our warm-up question, which is Tam ready to lose to me at the Stark Dark 2.5K? Maybe don't answer that one quite so thoroughly. But my question for you, Barrett, is Stark Dark. Have you heard about it? Obviously, if you are live, you have a chance to go there. This will be up next week, so you'll have the results of it. What are your expectations for Stark Dark? What are your thoughts? What do you think is going to happen at this prestigious event? A 2.5K is kind of nothing to roll your eyes at, you know.
I'm a big fan of what they do. This is their second one now. I'm pretty sure, at least this year, within this year. Um, but I think it is a great event to go to if it is something you are interested in competing for real monetary value when playing Universus. And the reason I say that is because I know that there are some people out there that have had frustrations with organized play this year. And the prize support that comes along with it. This is literally where, you should go to this event and speak your mind, because this is literally what you're asking for those kind of people.
Yeah.
I know the last one was very successful, and it was very different, at least like format wise, than what we even saw unfold for the rest of that competitive season. And it was filled with a bunch of heavy hitters, just like how this one is also going to be filled with a bunch of heavy hitters.
Yeah.
I know a bunch of people that are going to it. It's in St. Louis this coming weekend. Is that correct?
It is. Yeah. We are leaving for it
Yeah.
tomorrow. Having our 6-hour drive.
Yeah, which is pretty nice for us in driving distance. I believe the last one was like in one of the Carolinas or something like that. Regardless, I think it's going to be a great event. I'm excited to see what the results are.
I think the last one was in Florida, if I believe. If I remember
Was it Florida? Okay.
Yeah. I think it was in
But
Orlando.
but regardless, like, people do show up and play competitive decks. And so we'll see if it's just going to be like a reiteration Atlanta, or if this is like a preview necessarily of what Glasgow is going to be, because I think there are also going to be some heavy hitters that will be going to Glasgow, at least representing North America. But of course, that is Europe's last regional this year. So I'm excited to see what happens. I think it'll be a ton of fun. I will be a spectator, of course, as I'm not going. I have Halloween plans and Riftbound release plans, but I also know that some people there are also trying to do some more Riftbound card acquisition that weekend, for people that scrub out necessarily, or don't want to play. And on top of that, they're doing a retro tournament there, and so I think that's really exciting, because I think people do enjoy that format. And when you're already going to compete in one prestigious event, why not participate in the second little fun side event, which is the retro event? So I think that'll be a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, I played games last night. I played Ken 2, which is sitting on my desk, not sleeved.
I saw you go to a billion foundations.
I did, man. My deck. So I had this Ken deck from previously, which I made on UVS Ultra, and I made it to the nines, and it was the best that it could be. And then I looked through my stuff, and I went, I don't have any of this. And so like I made like changes to the paper deck without making any changes to the Ultra deck, and I don't remember what those changes were. So when I took the deck apart and then I came back to it, I went, oh, this is not the deck that I don't have these cards. Like I just don't own them. I don't even own Venomous, right? Like I have none of it. And
you didn't add that to the pile, Tam, because most of that deck is mine, so I can get you Venomous.
That's true. But my point being, when I remade the deck last night or 2 nights ago, and I made it on Ultra or whatever, it just like wasn't showing up, and it took me a bunch of games of like putting things in, raking things out, and being like, was this it? I'm just like I lost the secret formula to what the deck was. I was in the kitchen cooking, trying to re-find it, and I was like, what is going on? But I think we finally found something that is pretty good. And truthfully, I think I played 5 games of retro last night, or 5 matches of retro last night, and 1 match of standard. People were way more interested to play retro than they were standard last night, and I think it's all due to the idea of like let's play something cool and fun, you know?
Let's do something different, right? I think mixing it up is always a good time, because there's only one way to play our game. Retro at least functions as a sideways version to play the game. So it's exciting and new for people. I think, in the similar vein, I'll quick shout out for Sam Tate, because he's hosting a My Hero only online tournament that I think people are already very much talking about and prepping for. So again, just mixing it up a little bit, I think, is something that our players really do enjoy. Uh, but to go back to the original question, uh, I don't know what hardware is playing, so I don't know if they're going to beat you, Tam. So if you happen to know what they're playing, or if they're willing to answer in chat, I would be able to answer the question, which is, are they going to beat you in the event? Because I know what you're playing.
Yes. I really like my deck, even if Chris Bromley hates it. I think that this deck is very cool, very fun. I think that I have found a very nice blend of aggro and disruption, flow and disruption of like making sure that my game plan works and stopping your game plan so it gets back to my turn and then I kill you. It genuinely, this deck feels a lot like Pony, which is the I brought Air Pony to the first Stark Dark event, and I'm playing 35 health character Pony for this event. I am blocking is out the window. We're gonna block one time per turn, and then we're gonna utilize our health. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I think that there's a lot of different options to play this play in this tournament. There's a lot of choices that you can make. Again, the last event that we had in Atlanta was won by 16th place on Void Rodan from the losers bracket, running all the way back up. Not the big bad of the format Double Gen, but like something that was fighting and fighting against these hyper aggro decks. And so I'm excited for it. I think that there is a lot of cool options that you can play in the game right now at a pretty high level. That's dope.
Sorry, I was doing some investigative research to figure out what you might be playing against.
Yeah, I see that in the chat. All Ryu throws.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like the craziest technology. I like it on Void specifically. But I think most of the throws that I see here on the all symbol, there's some crazy ones. But Bristol Chokeslam, do you remember that one?
I do remember that one, and then you guys made a bunch of tune cards, and so that card's not very good anymore.
Yeah, and most of these throws are also attuned.
Yeah.
But it is interesting.
I will say that my plan is to stream the event right here on Twitch, and so in 2 days you will be able to see. I'm not planning on being on stream the entire time. I'm going to be mixing up, changing it up for people to enjoy the show. I think what I might do, and this is going to be crazy, is I might on the YouTube POV might be the regular tournament, and then Twitch POV might be my personal thing. So I might just like have two separate streams going at the same time, so that you can check back and forth, just so that I just put on the body cam and play the game. Make it feel like an event, make you feel like you missed out. But
I'll be playing Riftbound, but I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, there will be a lot of Riftbound happening that weekend at the tournament as well. I know that that Stark Dark is opening up a Riftbound product. I know that there are people who are coming from out of town, bringing their Riftbound boxes to be opened. There's going to be a lot. There's gonna be a lot going on. So if you get a
It's
wild
Halloween,
and it's Halloween, everybody should be dressing up. I'm not dressing up. I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna dress up as my character. I don't think I'm ever doing it again. I think that part of me is over. It's dead. I've grown up. I've lost the whimsy, Barrett.
You've matured.
I've matured. Do it, Tam? Nah, I don't have any red scarves. Anywho, I think we're gonna go ahead and move on because like Stark expectations feel very similar to Atlanta expectations, and I think Atlanta kind of called its shot. I think the only thing I didn't call in Atlanta was just Porco. I thought that guy was dead in the ground, but apparently they're not.
More successful than the other aggro deck, so
That is true. That's super true. Just down to kill him.
Broden Kynan says, I'm bringing my Godzilla onesie. We'll see how I feel on the day. That's
Hell yeah.
awesome. You should wear it. I will peer pressure you.
I dig it. I dig it. We have a question. Chat, for all people who are here, thank you for being here and watching the show. But if you want to be a part of the show, come and join the conversation. Come into my Discord, open up a ticket, just like fan of the show. We have Schwa218 popping in to ask us a question. Schwa, how's it going, man?
They're muted. It's
Hey.
over.
Hello.
Sorry. I was watching the stream and it was on delay, so I was confusing myself.
It's all good.
For a second. Doing well. How's everyone doing tonight?
Good. It's a
I'm
good Thursday.
also very good. You have a big question for us.
Yeah. How much Riftbound product are you opening?
Me
One box.
personally,
Yeah.
basically nothing, man. I bought nothing. I bought nothing from the actual store, and it is all gonna be what can I get secondhand.
Well, we're gonna have to change that up. We're gonna bring a couple cases down with the team.
Oh.
Hopefully brew a couple decks while we're down there.
That would be dope. That'd be really dope.
We do have a Universus question. Sorry, I go on a tangent.
You're good. We can switch the logo if you'd rather.
We can switch the logo.
We have a Tam and Barrett Riftbound Super Show logo.
I think there'll be plenty of time for Riftbound questions, but no, just as excited as both of you for getting that going. But a little twist on the meta question to both of you. There's different reasons for dissatisfaction with the meta, whether it be having fun or thinking it's not balanced or leaning into one strategy too much versus the other. One thing I have noticed, anecdotally, is that most of the successful strategies are highly optimized, leaning into a singular strategy, like full DR, full aggro, full lockout. Is there space for mid-range in this format? And if not, what would it take for it to be viable again?
Barrett, I'll have you.
You or me?
First. You got
Yeah.
it. You got it.
Yeah, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I agree with you. I think a lot of what modern Universus players bringing to tournaments are optimized machines, whereas I don't know if I would use the word mid-range per se, at least when I'm talking this conversation, but like I think decks that just play strong fundamental Universus are not being played as much. And the reason the thing that you can compare this and track this with is, yes, the optimized aggro machines, or even like the optimized like doing the Falling Titans thing, or optimized Allura combo deck, right? Like I would still put those in this kind of category. But what you don't see a lot of nowadays are decks like what Phil Birch played at Atlanta, right? Which is just like, I'm going to play a bunch of the good ones and play better fundamental Universus against my opponent and take advantage and win that way, basically. And I would say that's about the closest to the idea of playing mid-range in our current format. I would say right now, mid-range for sure doesn't feel like it has a home in the general consensus of what mid-range means. And I think a lot of that has to do with just like certain cards that exist in the format or certain characters that are at that top tier echelon, where it's just like, if you're trying to play generic value-based Universus, it's a little difficult to when you're constantly having to be put in front of a lot of these decks that either directly conflict with what your value engine is trying to do, and you just like happenstance, like by happenstance, you get countered by what a character or a strategy is trying to do. And then also, these optimized machines are just really appealing to players. I don't necessarily think they're the best thing to be doing, but based off of the top cut in Atlanta, people prefer them. And I think that's just the biggest shift I've seen in the game in the past 2 years, is just like people prefer to play them because the execution of them is very straightforward. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I think that's just it, right? Like it's so much easier for the average person to pick up a deck that fundamentally ignores what my rival is doing, right? When I play Devil Jin and I put a Mutant Machine in front of it, if your deck is not tailored to fight that, I'm going to find 80 damage, and there's kind of nothing that you can do about it, right? Whereas in the past, we have seen decks that, when optimized, like when I look at Gamer Toga, which before your time, Schwab, but certainly within like the most recent years, was not outputting 80 damage. It was outputting a very decent 40, right? And 40 is a lot, and 40 felt good, and it churned through the deck, and it did the thing. But like the amount of stats that Devil Jin is allowed to put on for kind of free because of this singular addition into the card pool, and the when you interact with me, I'll cancel with my Goblin Bolts, and just like every piece of the puzzle slides in perfect. Move to another deck. I look at Hanj, and when I go, I build up my stage. I've got a bunch of Titan backups, and I go Unyielding Rock Barrage Titan pile, and I go, if your deck didn't have the runaway, right? If you didn't have a way to interact with that Titan pile, I found 40 on literally turn 2. I played at you, not with you. And so like when you start playing these fully optimized decks, you take we already have the RNG element of drawing random cards. We already have the RNG element of making random checks. Take out the biggest RNG element is, what the fuck is my opponent going to do? And I'm going to feel way better about my chances of playing the game. I just am. Whereas traditionally, these mid-range decks are all about, how do I play this tennis match of back and forth, lobbying the ball, right? Or volleying the ball back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I'm just hitting the ball better than you because that's how my mid-range works. And I like get more advantage out of it because I'm better at playing that ball. How about you just like sit down on the tennis court and not play with me? and like I'd be way better at tennis if you just did that. And I think the game just right now is allowing you to do that more than it ever has before.
But Bear, I think you made a really good point there, especially as a new player. Like I said, I joined only like AOT 3 pre-release.
Yeah.
When you play those long mid-range decks without card pool knowledge, we talk about agency and taking agency away.
Yeah.
Lack of knowledge takes agency away as well, right? And so sitting
Absolutely.
there and going to jail for an hour and 10 minutes and not doing anything because you don't know all of the interaction points or the line can be just as daunting for a new player. So having Devil Jin, having agency and power to say, I can, play through this and catch up in card pool knowledge while still playing the game effectively is alluring, right? And I can see why a lot of people travel to that. I do think, though, there's a step back, like philosophically. I know it took a long time for this to happen with Universus, but you look at a lot of games that have been around for a long time and face power creep. Eventually, optimized strategies rise to the top, right?
Absolutely. I would agree
Is
with
this
that.
like an inevitability, right? And like, how do you combat it if that's the case?
I don't think it's an inevitability. I'm going to put you on blast a little bit here, Shri.
Yeah.
Only because I know some of the games that you've been playing in your own free time.
Whoa.
I think like
this man's a Splinter main now. I need you to calm down.
Yeah, I've been loving
that character, and guess what? That character is incredibly cool. Maybe not in the pile of optimized things that we're talking about, but that character is really cool. And I don't think there's anything wrong with experimenting with cool stuff. But I think the biggest thing was like, Shri, you've had a lot of actually incredibly good success for the few amount of tournaments that you've gone to. But I know that you're currently being put through the Rodan blender right now with some of the people that you're playing against, and a lot of those decks are literally just like pounding fundamental Universus against you, right? And like I would say the thing is like when you play a deck like Devil Jin against them, you do feel like you probably have like a way stronger chance because you're here to turn this machine. As long as you know how to crank the handle, you're good to go. And that is good to have in our game so that people that are new to the experience feel invited and feel like they have a chance. Because at least for the history of this entire game, and Tam can attest to this,
yeah,
you basically you're not allowed to have success in this game historically without getting your face pounded into you for months and months and months. And that is a masochistic behavior to get new players to play your game competitively.
Totally.
The fact
Yeah,
now
that
that
would
you
suck.
can, yeah, it would suck. But now
Yeah.
that even at an entry level, I can buy a Godzilla Challenger deck or I can buy a Rodan Challenger deck, and all of a sudden you're already playing an echelon and roster of characters that are having competitive success. I think that is inviting in good as a positive sense. You bring up the power creep thing, and I think that is important. Is it an inevitability? Um, I think when it comes to the optimized decks rising to the top at some point, I would agree with you. I think that's a fear, at least for me as like a player, uh, because I do believe that the better fundamentalists should still feel like they have an advantage or feel like they have an edge from that experience that they've gained. And when those kind of players feel like they can't win anymore just based off of their experience or their deck building prowess or whatever, that I think there's probably a miss. Um, and we just make ourselves kind of like look a little bit closer to just like other card games, which I think is not the appeal of our game. I think the appeal of our game is that we're not the same as any other card game. But I do think that there's just a lot of onus of like obviously the design team curving that power level thing that we talked about. And then also as you go along that path of curving that power level or power creep, that's what the bans and errata lists are for, right? So I think it is entirely up to that. And I think that this is probably the closest, at least I've seen, at least with Atlanta specifically, of like I pulled up the event while you were talking. Atlanta specifically, if you look up the Metaversus shout outs to theirs. Um, aside from Phil Birch, who won the whole thing, if you start scrolling and looking at all these decks, just without clicking on the deck list, but realizing what people are doing with the characters right now, I think Mitchell Chimino is the next person on this list that I would not put as an optimized pile. But Mitchell Chimino is an optimized player. So let's consider that still in this example. So I'm going to continue to scroll.
And his deck is all about, one-shotting you, right? So
Exactly.
it is feeding into an optimized strategy using honest universes. And if Phil
Correct.
didn't win, we would have 16 teamings in the finals, right? The final
Yeah.
four if he didn't get up there, right?
But if I do keep scrolling, literally the next deck that I would put in the similar category of what Phil's deck was doing is 17th place. The person that didn't make the top cut, Basile Pilsner, was playing Han Zoe Four Eyes, which is the character that Kevin Broberg won with at Worlds in February by playing better fundamental universes than all of his opponents because of the deck and interesting thing that he did and what he built with that character. And if you click on the deck list of what Basile is doing, it's not an optimized pile. This is I'm playing good stuff and I want to have a wide range of things that synergize with my powerful character and their strategy, but it's in a field with 15 other characters above it that are playing optimized aggro or optimized game plans, and it didn't make the cut. So, and if you keep looking down, I would say the next closest that is there's Carson Panos' 90 card pile, which is obviously the epitome of what we're talking about of I'm just going to try and play fundamental universes against you. So aside from looking at that event, I don't disagree with you. I think this is the closest I've felt like we've gotten where the reality is that more people are just choosing to play optimized decks and optimized strategies more so than trying to win and beat their opponent because they just think they can play better universes and putting in better widespread answers and playing characters like Rodan that can fulfill and cater to those things. But we're seeing less and less of the like King Ghidorahs of the world, at least doing well. And so I think there probably should be a shift so that we can kind of recreate that balance because I do agree with you, Shri, that as soon as the optimized continues to grow at this alarming pace, like I think we're lucky that Phil won because if Phil
Yes.
didn't win, I think there would be a lot more pitchforks, right? And there already are pitchforks, right? But because Phil won, I can sit here and talk about how, yes, fundamental universes is still the way to go.
But I think it's just delaying the inevitability, right? Even
Yeah.
if they did some bans, right? Like I actually think there isn't a card ban that is going to fix it. My fundamental belief, and I think this is the case in a lot of games, right? Once you're able to start tutoring, you're starting to break the game, right? And I think it's the tutoring aspect of it, like stuffing stuff into your discard pile, bringing that back, cheating costs. That happens in all games, right? But like just tutoring and getting what you need at any point in time, right? Like whenever you want. Whether it be equipment heist or other means, right? I think that's something that starts to allow for these optimized decks to really go on turbocharge, right?
And,
And so
and I'm in a different boat. I think cards like Sweeping Daggers are just like a big deterrent right now, to preventing this kind of game style that you are talking about, this like mid-range game plan, because a lot of what those mid-range slash fundamental decks strive off of are they need to play the big haymakers. They need to play the big finisher moves to execute a game plan after whittling down your opponent, or playing good defense and doing the backswing thing. And playing cards like that right now is so scary because your opponent could copy it off of a 4-div.
yeah.
So I'm over here on the boat of like, I think people just aren't experimenting with things like mid-range or strong fundamental universes right now, because cards like Sweeping Daggers create a barricade for people that feels bad of like, I don't want to play Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken, not because that card's going to win me the game, but because it's just a fundamentally strong piece. Because if my opponent steals it from me because they went first this game with their 4-diff instead of checking the 5 and maybe checking a 3, it feels incredibly worse than you trying to play a different strategy and having to play the card the way that it was meant to be played, right? So, and I think this speaks in the same volume of like the high difficulty attacks, playing things, like the 10 diffs, or even playing like Jaw Titans Bites or whatever, right? I think it's like the same idea goes both ways of of this. I think the characters and their strength are obviously a different conversation, and what they're allowed to facilitate for people to play with. But there are just kind of like cards in the format that I think are promoting this optimized game plan. And I don't disagree with you. Like tutoring is another category of that. I think picking cards up from your discard pile, that's the Mimic syndrome. I hate characters like Mimic because they go grab whatever attack they want from their discard pile, and that's fundamentally not how we've ever played this game.
Yep.
But like,
I'm a Golgari player. I love it. I want
yeah,
more of
exactly.
it.
I play a Golgari deck in Magic as well. So like, I get it. I understand the appeal of it, but even that character had to get touched because he was just doing it too much. And that was back when the game was slower.
Yeah.
And so I don't disagree with you. And, cards like Equipment Heist, literally tutoring for assets that we've never seen before, things like 7 difficulty assets, or even things like Ceratos, or cards like Military Airship, right? That are based off of precursors before them that were problems in formats.
Yep.
I don't disagree with you. I do think there's a bunch of slices in this pie, though, that I think any change to any of those slices could promote people wanting to play maybe less of the optimized stuff. But I think the other problem is once people have a taste of it, it's really hard for people to get away from it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't see people not wanting to lean into it, even though could lead to a poor play experience. The other thing that I worry about is, how do you combat it, right? Do you ban? Do you make changes? Do you touch things? Do you print counter hate, right? But then do people start optimizing the counter hate? And then you have like the entire end of the spectrum where it's long games, people draw out, right? Like, how do you keep that balance? And obviously, that's what the game designers are always dealing with. But I find it interesting because I feel like every other game in the market has shown consumers want gas, and they like gas, and they buy gas, right? Like, so how is that not going to come to Universus and kind of be a part of the strategy, because that's what the consumers pay for, right?
So
I think
my big thing about it is I think it's totally chill for you to want gas. I think that's okay, and I think that there is a world where these optimized, I'll use the TAM coined words, these flow decks, right? The decks that just do the thing without interrupt. Like if you don't disrupt what I'm doing, my deck's just going to work. I think my big issue is twofold. One, these optimized piles are consistent, very consistent at the low end of the spectrum. If you take Porco and you high roll me 1 out of 3 games, that might be a little too high. But it feels like Porco's high rolling 4 out of 5 games, which is very consistent, right? And you could look at this top cuts and you go, Porco's doing it, Godzilla's doing it, Pony's doing it, Devil Jin's doing it, Hanja's doing it, Zeke Yeager 1 is doing. And so not only is it on the low end of your high roll, is it working? But also, I just named 8 characters. The amount of people that can do it in unique and interesting ways is promoting this optimization. When I take and I look at the other end of the equation and I look at the top 16, I don't think people don't want to not play these optimized defensive decks, but we had Rodan and we had Midoriya on the move as our 2 defensive options, right? Of these not highly optimized, whatever we'll call it that, right? But there's an asterisk on the move. When I look down at the rest of it, like I think that like there's just more number of slots in the look at the big pie chart of the amount of optimized piles of things doing the thing, and there are significantly less defensive options of like how can I slow the game down and play the game in a proper way, right? Like after the Carson one, the fact that Tim Keefe got 27th with Fire Ryu says something that like this can exist, but how many times does my opponent have to low roll their dice and still get there for you to be like, why am I bothering playing Honest Universes? When it's not just I have to dodge Godzilla to do the thing, right? And Godzilla could accidentally find a build 4, find the city rampage, play 5 attacks on turn 2 and kill me. And shit, that was a low roll. Well, then they did it the next game. And then I played against Devil Jin. And then they did it the next game. And then I played against Porco. And they did it the next game. And I go, God, man, I could get it if I just like ran into Godzilla all day, but I have to dodge 8 characters to not just get rolled on the low end. That's crazy.
And I think that's kind of like a different part of the conversation of like too of like I think different characters on the spectrum, their floors are on different, like their bottom roll, right? The bad rolls.
Yeah.
Their floors are on different levels. Because I would say that even like, I think part of the reason why Hanj Zoe has a lot of success on conversion is I think Hanj Zoe's floor is much higher than the Devil Jin and the Porco floors. Because you can see it on stream on some of the games. There are just some games where you would see a Porco deck actually just not play the game against you. Because if they, on the other hand, they build their foundations and their next hand is only foundations, that character doesn't do anything.
Nothing.
They just die.
Yeah.
And so, like, but there is a percentage of the players in the world right now that are okay with games like that. And a player who probably prefers to play fundamental, not as optimized piles, but better at playing fun, like just regular Universus, that won't happen with those decks. Or and if it does, it happens on a way smaller basis, and their decks are still allowed to play the game against you.
And their decks are not all or nothing, so they can get themselves out of that RNG sticky situation.
And for me, because I've been there, I've played optimized decks before, I've played other card games, I know how it is. The moment that experience is like the reason you don't win an event or you don't make a top cut, I'm off of the optimized piles immediately. Like I'm out because like that is this like night and day difference of actually playing the game versus not playing the game. And because of you trying to play the well-oiled machine, the moment that happens, I'm out. I don't care what the math says. And obviously the like closer that the optimized piles get to a near 0% of that non-game happening, that's a real issue and that's a different conversation. But
for sure.
But what these decks, when they do have their non-games, it is the reason these people's tournaments are over.
Yeah.
Like and if you're okay with playing a deck that does that thing, that's okay. Like you're allowed to play that way. There's nothing wrong with that.
But it influences the meta, right? Like
it does. It's the perception.
If everyone's playing those RNG decks, even the good decks, when they go against it, have a chance of just getting rolled, right? And the more times you face against it, the chance of you hitting a high roll, increases. And so, even at like the sheer quantity of those decks also make a difference in these tournaments, right?
And I would say the biggest shift, which is crazy, because like the biggest shift I think that has occurred specifically this year on why this has evolved to where we're at right now is less about the set releases and more so about the bans and erratas, because the big shift to me was when VME got banned. Because before VME got banned, you had players like Andrew Porat going back to back with two different characters that are just incredibly good at doing fundamental universes. And as soon as VME gets hit, everyone feels like they're a little more accessible at trying to do this kind of optimized aggro game plan. And then, yes, of course, there are more cards that come out to promote that game style. And I'm not saying there aren't defensive pieces as well, but like some of the best defensive pieces have already existed in the format for the past 2 years. So
Most
I
of
find
them,
a lot.
some of them are rotating out. That's
Some of
the
them
other-
are, but like Genkai's Guidance will still be here, and I think
Yeah.
cards like Genkai's Guidance seeing less play is the like epitome of what we're talking about, right? And like again, you go watch Phil's incredible Game 3 of Atlanta, and that literally only being possible because of cards like Genkai's Guidance, but like I think of even just in the same bubble of time, Peak Finger comes out in AOT 3, and Peak Finger appears to be the next fundamental Universus deck that is going to fit right into the slot of I'm going to just roll over the game in the format because I play fundamental Universus better than everybody, and people just stopped playing her.
Yeah.
Because they got the itch to play the optimized piles more. And again, it's just the like social phenomena, I think, really is what it is. I mean, nobody's making people play these decks. People like their gas, like you said. But, I can sit here and talk about the Atlanta Regional and do a whole presentation on it for 4 hours. Because at the end of the day, I still get to go, yeah, but Phil Birch won the whole thing playing Rodan and went second all day. So you're telling me the aggro decks that went first game 1 every single time still couldn't do it?
Well, I think what they're saying is you need to play Rodan and be Phil Birch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not disagreeing that Phil Birch is an anomaly, but like even within the history of the year, we did the math the other week or whatever. Tam and I went and counted through all the decks that have won events, and the optimized decks are not winning in the race this year.
Well, no, to a certain extent, right? It's not about optimized. It's the fact that the characters that are winning are the characters that cheat at the game in some way, shape, or form, right? Like
Reiner Braun won this year.
I get that, but that's more the exception than the rule. I look at even Rodan. Rodan, the fact that we're even saying Rodan is like the third or fourth best character just tells you how crazy the meta is. 'Cause Rodan is broken.
We've said that since the character came out, which is crazy.
Yeah. Ghidorah, like not getting played is crazy because that character is broken, right? And so I think broken characters are running the meta and they run the gambit. They run DR, they run aggro, they run defense. They're all characters that just are a step above everything else. And they're highly optimized into the strategies that they focus on.
So I don't necessarily know if broken is the right word, right? And I think
well,
that,
they cheat the game in some way that is abnormal, right?
I think optimize is the right word, and let me explain. When I take and I look at the main offenders here on the in Atlanta, we'll just use Atlanta for example, right? We've got Porco Devil Jin, Godzilla. We'll use Hanj here as our backup deck, right? Porco puts whatever stats on 1/1 and has a lot of extra triggers and responses that you can't plan for when it comes to your math because of all the bing bongs that he hits off the top of the deck. That is part of the strength of Porco that none of the other characters in this list has access to, right? The random -1 to your check, the random +2 damage, saying that when I didn't do the math that I was allowed to block this, well now I'm not allowed to because the thing later is going to kill me now. And like he just he has this element of RNG of if he doesn't know his game plan, there's no way that you can know his game plan, right? You've got Devil Jin that hits harder than any other character in the game. It's just the truth. And if you have enhanced interaction with him, it will be canceled with Goblin Bolt. And if you don't have well-timed low blocks, they will stack
Camo
counters and then kill you with 2 or 3 copies of teaming. You've got
and they'll
Godzilla.
check at 11 on an attack.
Correct. They'll check at 11 on an attack. I didn't know the printed numbers that. I look at Godzilla. One action can take and can play out my entire hand of 5+ difficulty moves, and if my game plan is going bad, I will reset us back to the Stone Age and try again. He literally has a redo button. I look at Hanj. Hanj has so much DR, more DR than we've seen probably ever in the history of the game in relation to what they can do with backups. If you can't count to 70 against Hanj, if they get set up, you'll lose because they will find a Titan pile. They will find a way to play infinite whatevers. If you cannot deal with every single element that is the highest optimized in this giant pie chart where all of these decks are similar enough that you go, yeah, well, Porco, Godzilla, and Devil Jin are all aggro decks, so I should play them all different. No, I have to have 20 different cards to fight each of them, and that they're not all the same 20 cards, especially not on my symbol. And then I still have to deal with what happens whenever Travis Tangeming shows up with Krista and stacks 3s on top of my deck for literally the entire game. Can my deck run if I check nothing but 3s on every single check of the game? Because that was Travis's, and he puts down stats. What happens if my deck can't play meaningful offense and keep Midoriya from flipping? How quick can Mitchell Chimino build up 20 foundations and kill me? Combined with what happens whenever I do randomly fight a Byakko. It's round 3. I'm 2-0. I'm feeling good about my tournament, and I fight Byakko, and I go, my stage is so important to fighting all these other decks, and Byakko's going to just turn them all face down. What do I do against that? What do I do against the random Leatherhead that started the tournament 2-0? My card pool was important, and now all of that damage reduction, I can't deal with. And like, there's so many different avenues that when you look at the upper echelon of what is happening at the very tip top of these like 5, 6 to 10 really optimized decks, and then you go, okay, I have answers to fight those. Are those the same answers to fight the off meta decks? Are those the same answers to fight the anti meta decks? There's just so many different unique ways to play the game that when you play against the optimized piles and you can't beat those, then what do you do against the random things? It's why Rodan is so good, is because Rodan is a rogue deck killer. Rodan is a rogue deck killer, and Rodan can fight these optimized piles, especially if the goal is I need to block. That guy blocks. And so like it's not the fact that like this deck is the optimized piles are so consistent at doing this one thing. It's these optimized decks are so consistent at doing their thing, and it's not necessarily the same thing that exists across the rest of it.
So then how do you touch it then? And like there's so many things you'd have to touch, right? Because there's so many optimized avenues and opportunities. I know they're not all created equal, but I think variety makes it difficult.
It does, because it's that weird conversation of like, well, if everything's broken, then what it actually is, right? At least when it comes to like high-end competitive play. And I think like that's where that conversation comes from of like, well, playing competitive Universus versus playing casual Universus is very, very different, because it is. I mean, and every card game is that way. Like playing casual Yu-Gi-Oh! Or casual Magic versus competitive Magic is night and day different, right? But the reality is like, you're right. I mean, there's so many different things. There's so many spreads, and that is exactly what the results say. Symbol diversity aside from that, of course. But like the strategies you can choose to go about that avenue, the cards you have access to do those things. There is that sort of like idea of if you're playing against somebody that didn't respect what your deck is doing, you can just win the whole event because you made the right call.
Yep.
Literally. Wub and Caden making finals, and the backup decks really having a home in that Louisville regional, and it hasn't happened again since. Because people respect it now. People are playing the cards to go against it. But when people aren't playing the cards to go against it, they're not respecting it, they're not doing that game plan. Aside from Atlanta with the 4 Anj decks that made it in, as well as like the Zeke. The backup decks have not had the same near amount of success as they did in that one regional because that gotcha factor isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
It's very different, right? It's crazy because our game is so unique and interesting that like I don't think this can really happen in any other game. But the reality is like there's so many pieces, there's so many different ways to play and approach the game. Like Tam said, there's so many ways of winning the game through either attrition or actually killing your opponent, or playing a mill deck or whatever, like, or playing a combo, like an infinite combo like Allura. And if you just run into the people that aren't playing answers to that stuff, guess what? You probably have like a 90-10 matchup. You could run away with a whole tournament if people aren't respecting what you're doing. And so I think our entire game is like constantly understanding the card pool and understanding what people are doing and the tactics and strategies that people are using. And you can't ever be prepared for everything. And I think that's just always been the case for our game. I don't think you can ever be prepared for everything. At least now, more than it was in the days of old, because we don't have the diversity rule. At least everything's transparent and everything's on the floor. Like we don't have any fake, B tier, C tier characters like giving us crappy data. Like, no, the data is there, and the data says you are allowed to play a bunch of these different strategies and be successful with them. And sometimes the reason you get successful is because someone didn't respect what you were doing. And that's where the like benefit of doing the practice and doing the prep work for it can be the reason why you win a whole event. And I think that's always been the case. I think it is a little more exacerbated right now with the speed of which a lot of these decks play at. And I think that's a different conversation because like regardless, I think people are always going to attempt to build optimized piles no matter what the format is. I mean, we saw it in MHA 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., right? And it's whatever the boogeyman of the format, people are going to try and make it the best that they can because they believe it's their key to victory or their pathway to victory, the most consistent way to get there. And then you want to make that deck as consistent as possible, right? I mean, that's what we do, right? We game the game. That's what card gamers do.
I just want to play Water Splinter.
I get that. Water symbols, a little rough right now, buddy.
I know. I found out the hard way. So
that's okay. And
I still keep running my head into that wall, and I'm liking it.
I do think a lot of this game, especially when it comes to like symbols disparity, is a roller coaster of just like it comes and goes with the times. So it is what it is. You picked a bad one. You picked a bad symbol. It doesn't help that your attuned counterpart that you didn't pick isn't exactly the best either. So
Yeah. I wonder who designed that card. So, but
I
okay.
blame Bear Bryant. That's.
I like Splinter a lot.
No, I like it a lot. I think it's one of the coolest cards.
Because I really like blocking with the stun baton.
Oh, the 0/1. Yeah.
And you go, your move is nothing, and you went, oh, that's sick. And then
I
vice
love
versa, you like find a way to like shove something into your card pool, and you go, now my move's big.
It's a lot of
water.
fun.
Water, you get
Ray Fillet.
No, I'm trying to say like, what is the name of that card? Yeah, so Mighty Blitz has water. So my favorite thing is like you can play Mighty Blitz and Splinter, and you just like go shove in Colossal Titan attacks, and you make one of your moves like an 8 for 10 or something like that. And it's very funny. Like to start, and then you play the game, and you go, here we go.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna have to pull that idea into here.
That's okay. It's fun stuff like that, like what's the biggest base stats on a move that I can shove into this deck, and you can use it offensively, right? And then like one day you hit a point where you're allowed to play the 10 diff, and you're like, all right, I'll play this guy. This guy's not bad.
Yeah, here's my 10 diff, and when I play my next move, it also gets to be 10 diff stats because I'm Splitter.
Yeah. My 4 diff is a 10 diff now. My Ray Fillet, my 3 diff, is a 10 diff now. So yeah, I totally get it. Fillet fling is what I meant to say. But yeah, it's stuff like that is fun. Like it's really cool to brew and do all that stuff. But like that's what we said, right? That's a deck that I
Then I lose
Would
four
not-
times with Godzilla. You know?
Yeah, I would not feel confident about bringing that to an event at all right now. But that's not where it exists right now. That's not where it is. So it is what it is.
That's okay.
Things come and go. It is a card game,
Yeah.
and that's not even to consider, rotation is looming, right? Which will shake things up and it will shift all of this. Because I think one of the big points that we brought up on this conversation is, wow, all of a sudden blocking feels important again. Because literally less than a year ago, we played in a format where blocking was bad,
Yeah.
like actively bad, and like less than a year later, blocking is one of the more successful ways to survive right now. Things like Breaker, things like Aries Smiles are potent again. And I'm not saying they weren't potent back then, but people weren't playing it. The community, the social accepted state of the game was that blocking was bad. So nobody did it. For Nationals, a not blocking deck won. And then for Worlds, basically a not blocking deck won. And here we are full circle that like you can block now and you can survive, So like it is what it is.
Shree, final thoughts, man? I think it's a good topic.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a wonderful Halloween, and I hope your polls are awesome for Riftbound. I'm excited to see some Riftbound content this weekend. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited to play some 4-player games with you.
Heck yeah, man. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on. Great questions
Right.
as always.
Take care. Bye.
Have a good one.
All
Good
right.
time.
It was a very good question. I think that conversation like that, where it's like, what would it take, and like, not like why is the meta bad, but why does the meta what it is? It's like so much more productive,
Yeah, well, it's less about the opinions of each other, and it's like, how did we get here? Like,
Yeah.
what is this? Like just like analyze. I think analyzing data is so fun. And it's not just data, because we are people, we are human beings. It's analyzing social choices, social decisions, and I think that stuff's so cool. I think it's so cool.
I agree. I got another question for you, Barrett. They're in the Discord, but decided not to be on the show.
And that's okay. We still want your questions.
You should do this spiel while I write this question.
Which, yeah, absolutely. Speaking of giving us your questions, there are 2 ways where you can submit a question to us. We have one, of course, if you are in Twitch chat with us, you can spend your lovely channel points and submit a question that we will get to. Of course, if you would like to still be on the show, you are still allowed to do so by also submitting a question in Tam's Discord by going in and submitting a ticket. There are instructions to do so. And you can join us and be on the show, which we prefer, but it's okay if you're not. We still want your questions. Of course, also, if you have a question and you are watching on YouTube, sadly right now there's not a way to submit a question that way. We recommend using Tam's Discord or just quickly hopping over to Twitch, using a couple channel points, and then getting one in that way, because we can't do it without you. How to do, boss?
You did great.
Okay.
You did so good. Luke Butler feels like he writes in at least once a month, which I greatly
he DMs me about every week too. I love that guy. He's great.
So sick. He asked about a UVS common format. Let me read his full question. Does a common rarity only format work in UVS like it does in big boy card games like MTG? Let me take you for a spin. Flesh and Blood recently put to rest their beginner-friendly format of Blitz. It's dead. They've officially killed it. They will be making no more Blitz products. There are no more Blitz events. It's over. No more Blitz. It does not exist anymore. The 20 health young hero, the way that you play the game, fast and quick and dirty, and it's over. And instead, they have made a new format called Silver Age, which is bringing back and unbanning all of the LL characters for the young heroes, and it is a common, uncommon, rare format. Every common, every uncommon, every rare is now legal, and they have an extensive 20-card ban list. It is their new thing, and to the point where they are, well, I can go play Zen. You can go play Zen, but you don't get to play any supers or majestics or legendaries, and that includes in the armor pieces and all of that as well. You literally play this, whatever. They are testing this out, and they are even making a bunch of starter deck products that are You spend the $20 and it is the best optimized versions that the creators could think of for these characters. Here it is. It's 20 it's commons and uncommons. It's rares. You literally it's probably more expensive, but it's the best thing that they could think of. It's not a starter deck product that you go and you go on TCG Player and you buy a bunch of extra commons for, right? It's not a starting point for you to upgrade. This is the best thing we got. Obviously, you can make the changes that you want to. They're making the entire format. They're really, really tripling down on the idea of a commoner format. What are your thoughts on a commoner format in Universus? Do you think it works with our game? Because the easy answer is, yeah, it works in every game. But I just don't think that's necessarily true. It doesn't work in a game like Yu-Gi-Oh! It just doesn't.
True.
Yeah, not in keep with the spirit of the game, which I think is an important distinction here.
Yeah, I think within the spirit of the game, absolutely. I think you can go through any amount of these top cut lists and you can find key strategies of commons and uncommons that you're allowed to play with. I think there are, like, again, just like with any other format, there are going to be some decks that are, or strategies that are nigh unplayable without their, key pieces that are at the higher rarity slots. For example, I don't think the backup decks would succeed very well, especially characters like Hanj, because, Hanj would lose 9 Titans throughout the ages, Beast Titan, Rock Barrage, Falling Titans isn't playable, Unyielding Destruction's not playable. So again, the list goes on.
Yeah.
But
Time
I'm
Pile,
interested in
still playable.
Time Pile is
still
playable.
Absolutely kills you in this commoner format. That guy's an uncommon, and
Absolutely.
if you can accrue the squad, it'll just slam you. Things
Yeah.
like Oya
So-
Capone, it's a rare, it's legal. Things like, and this is Silver Age, not necessarily commons, uncommons. I'm tossing rares in because I think that you should. I think putting rares
Sure.
in the game is totally chill. You get a rare in every pack.
I think it's
Make your whole pack.
I think it's
playable.
also everything else we just talked about, right? It's so like I'm going to ask you to make a stance. Where do you feel about starter deck cards? Because in some of our products,
Yeah.
they have rarity.
Yes.
And some of the old, and I think the current format is that they have rarities.
Mhm.
The older ones they do not.
Yes.
So my question to you is, do the SE cards count as in this commoner format? And then the ones that have rarities, you follow their rules. So for example, Godzilla and his support is playable, but things like City Rampage are not because it is an ultra rare within that product.
So it has UVS Games does something really interesting with their cards, and they have art frame based rarity. The frames literally change based on the common and uncommon slot, and this does exist inside of even the starter deck products. And so that it is a rare order. Actually, Godzilla does not have SE. All the last SE is the
Like
Togedex.
overhaul Mirio, right?
Toga no Chocodex.
Okay.
And you're ready? I'm pretty sure they might have the frames. They have the frames of like what is it common and what is an uncommon. And so the answer is abandoning all inhibitions is an ultra rare foundation. Right?
Yeah.
It's
okay.
gone.
Okay,
you don't play it.
If that's the stance, again, I think the cool thing about just it being a new format is that you have to explore all of these characters that would still be playable, but there's new levels to it, right?
Yeah.
Again, I'll bring up Godzilla again because I just did. You've got to figure out how to build Godzilla without City Rampage.
Totally.
And you've got to figure out how to play Godzilla without, Sixtive. I'm blanking.
Determined Advance?
Determined Advance.
Yeah.
But you still get access to Titan Cliff.
Totally.
Which is a big one, right? That's a big one. So it's like you have to figure out all these things, but if you don't know how to make a strategy work in a character without the higher rarity stuff, maybe that means you don't play that one. And maybe it means characters like Splinter do become very playable in these scenarios because you can go find some common or uncommon that has really good stats to help you push your advantage on your other moves that wouldn't have that advantage. And then you can still find some weenie attack to turn your opponent's thing into. And that seems pretty good, at least in that kind of idea. But I'm a big fan of it. We know that people have attempted it in the past.
Mhm.
People have played and attempted popper format. I think there were stricter rules back then with it was like commons and uncommons only.
Only. No rares.
Yeah, no rares, which includes character cards that have rarities on them. You couldn't play the rare ones, which, you're allowed to make that choice. It's a format that isn't officially sanctioned, right? So the idea is that you can make your own rules, you can figure it out. But I do think that like it can exist in our game, and people, at least within the core of how Universus has always been like appealed to me, a lot of your competitive decks are just filled with commons and uncommons already.
Yeah.
Because they're good. They're playable. They should be playable. You shouldn't have to. The highest, most expensive deck at the tournament shouldn't be the one that wins. And so formats like this, I think, naturally fit really well into our game. Someone's going to game the system. They're going to figure out what the best one is. I remember when you and I were talking about this, the best one that I could come out with was Mount Lady 3. Almost every card in her kit that makes her feel very powerful is a common or uncommon.
Yeah.
Is
it okay that Mount Lady 3 is running a format? Probably.
Maybe.
And you
but
ready?
Like,
if Canyon or Titan Cliff is unbearable,
Titan Cliff,
fucking ban
get
it,
it
dude.
out of there. Yeah,
Ban
get it
format.
out of there.
That's okay.
And you already chop up a lot of the top echelon of like what people would say like problematic cards.
Mhm.
It's a lot easier to control a smaller herd of sheep than it is to the whole farm, right? So like, it's 100%, I think, an appealing format. I think it's how widespread and how accepted is it? Do people want to commit the time to it? Do they care to commit the time to it?
I mean, people
Because
will
on the
commit
other
the time
side,
to it if the game is fun. Like that's
sure,
that's
yeah.
just that's the point blank stop, right? Like there's a world where I really let me fucking glaze fucking Flesh and Blood more, right?
You need to make another logo.
Yeah, I need to make another logo. The name Silver Age is so smart, and it's not commoner or common ground or whatever, because it
or popper,
or
like it makes it
popper,
sound
right
low, like
it makes it. But Silver Age is like it is like a new coming of age. It is we're bringing all these characters back into the game. Did you like somebody in my chat said, "Oh shit, I can play Zen"? Yeah, dude, they're back. They're back. It's its own separate format. The company gives a shit about it. They're making a bunch of product for it. The company gives a shit, right? They care. I'm not talking to you, Bear, but I'm talking to UVS Games as a whole. If you gave a shit about extra formats, we would give a shit about extra formats. Let me give you an example, right? If you take and those Terry, Mai, and Rock promos that you could get from the shirts, right? Those exclusive arts, they're back in retro. And you printed an extra 1,000 of them and said, for the rest of the year, if you go to a regional and you play in retro, we will give you a a not that art version of these characters to go and play if you played on a retro side event. That made me give it that is you doing a small thing to give a shit about retro and saying it's not the big boy format. We get that. It's the Wild West. We don't even have a real ban list. But if you go play in retro, we give it to you, right? Hey, we know that there are specific things that you want in this common ground format, this lower rarity format, which with whatever cool name. Hey guys, you want to go play Heroic. You want Heroic to exist as a format, which is MHA 1 forward. We've got a ban list for you. We've got the erratas, blah, 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 blah. Here it is. If you, on Sunday, there will be a singular Heroic event inside of it. If you play in the Heroic event, here's a singular promo that rotates every 6 months, right? Everybody's going to have one, right? There's one of 3. You randomly get one out of a pack, right? Like I think that ideas like that, if spearheaded even slightly by the company, make such a big deal, like such a big deal. And and really makes people who are trying to make something make and play more with the toys that you're making matter, right? Like, and at the same time, like, it's tough because specifically talking to my friend who is a playtester, right? Who's closest in the company to the design, playtest, and all of that. Not OP, not marketing, not legal, not any of it, right? I don't know how any of this shit works. If I ask you to care about Commoner as a playtester, you have to go playtest Commoner now, which is eating into your standard time. If I ask you to care about retro, you now have to go figure out what a retro ban list actually looks like, instead of having Rochester Retro come out and do it, instead of having the Tam Cardwell Commoner fiasco, and I am in charge of it rather than the company be in charge of it. But without the company's official support, I don't know that a Commoner format thrives, right? The only reason that the Rochester Retro format has existed is because, one, people like playing with the old cards, and two, Sean has worked his ass off to make it happen, and even then, there aren't official events. It's very hard for us to get people to come in and actually play. Like it's not an officially supported event. Here would be like a crazy experiment. I keep cutting you off. Here's would be a crazy experiment. Stark Dark doesn't do a standard tournament. They're 2.5K. They slum it. They shoot it all into a retro tournament. What does that look like? Do you get more than the people playing? Like
I would
as
be
experiment,
interested.
are they down to take that loss when 7 people show up because retro is the Wild West, right? Like, what does that look like? It is tough for us to put our money where our mouth is when I don't know if the company is looking to have that conversation and communication with me. I don't know.
I also think that we have too many things trying to dilute itself in this pool. Like, we're already not a very large game, but like I would be more interested to be like I would be more interested in, like, I'm gonna give a survey to any Universus player I can, probably the ones that go to events. So I would probably poll the entire people that go to Worlds or something. I'd be like, hey, here's a list of all the formats that we are interested in, or the players have said they're interested in, right? So you have retro, heroic, Pauper, MHA only, whatever.
Yeah.
Insert something else. And it says, hey, pick one. Pick one. Because I do think there could be an issue, right? Where it's like, we want to do XYZ, AA, BB. And you put them all in this like side event category or whatever, like you're saying, and they all dilute each other. I think that's bad, right? We're not big enough to do that. But I do think there's a world where, like, I would be very interested to know, according to the players, which would they care about more as the number 2 supported format. Obviously, standard's number 1, but what would they care about being?
Yeah.
And I would be interested to know what that is, right? Like, so I don't disagree with you. Again, I'm all for there being multiple ways to play our game, and again, with rotation looming, I think it's a real feels bad social contract that we as card gamers accept, that every year X amount of our collection is not playable anymore.
Yeah.
And that sucks, because you as a consumer don't feel as good about buying product when a couple years down the line it's not playable anymore.
Yes.
So, like, that sucks. You should be able. I have an entire box of MHA1 right down here. Cool. What do I do with it?
I'm ready to hang up MHA 2, 3, and I'm looking to get frames for 4 and 5, 4, 5, 6 when it rotates.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, and like, that's cool if you want to do that, but for the people that spent their hard-earned money on these cards and now they're just told that they're useless, that sucks.
Yeah,
like, that just sucks. And that's the shitty part, is that that's the social contract for every game that rotates. We're just okay with it. We're just okay with that social contract, which is fine. But the idea is, like, there should be a avenue for you to use your cool pieces, right? And they do. Again, they're not officially supported, but like, they do exist. I would be interested to see, if you had to pick one, what would the majority of the people pick? I think that is interesting information that maybe your organized play department would be interested in your feelings.
Can I can I just had an epiphany. If you guys actually made this format like the Silver Age, commons, uncommons, rares, the starter decks that you printed are playable.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
legitimately.
the starter decks. Yeah,
The
sure.
starter decks are playable. Not the challenger decks. The things
Yeah.
that you were supposed to start the game with, they have literally commons, uncommons, and the
Yeah,
bomb
nothing higher
of
than
it
a rare.
is a rare, right? When I look at Bad News Bullets inside the Percy deck, and I go, oh shit, this thing fucks in this format, right? This thing's a 6 high for 12 sometimes. That's a bomb. Those are big numbers, right? And out of the box, that product feels good. My issue is with commons and uncommons, unless you scale up the power level or whatever, the characters that you have made are designed to be played with ultra rares involved. When I look at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they're a 4-hand size, 40 health character. How many commons and uncommon attacks do I have to play to find 40? Very difficult. Very difficult.
Sure.
You know? And so
But
you would
again,
you'd have to do something about it, even if it, and this is crazy, in this format, I do instantly shoot myself in the foot about this the thing. Imagine if every 6-hand size character had 20 health, every 7-hand size character had 15 health, every 5-hand size character had 25 health, the 4-hand size character has 30. And so
you want blitz.
And I literally want them to be lower health so that your moves feel more impactful at the common and uncommon range. And it is blanket across the board. The difference between a 6-hand size 30 health character and a 6-hand size 31 health character does not matter for this format. If you're a 6-hand size character, you got 20. That's what you get. That's it. That's the only errata that you have to know.
Sure.
Is it goes 15,
Yeah.
20, 25, 30.
I don't think that seems like a future, like, when you figure out the inner machinations of the format, like where there's some underlying issues, like, sure, I could see that being a solution. I think it's also just like, hey, maybe characters like Byakuo don't have a home here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it might just be stuff like that, where it's like, hey, man, your 5-hand size 38 health character that actually just dumpsters damage with these commons and uncommons is probably bad, right? Like, that's just, like, I think that's a different thing that I'm not worried about a potential, like, B and E team working with a new format. I think the idea still is, I think trying to support too many formats is not a good idea for how small our game is.
Sure.
There should just be one. And if people want it to be retro, it should be retro. And I'm not saying that the common format can be the choice, or the Silver Age format, or whatever. I'm not saying heroic can't be the choice, but it's like, I think there's a world where the players probably should make a stance, right, on which one they care about more.
Yeah.
Because I do also think asking the amount of players that we do have to support 5 different formats is unfair. And if you're going to an event, and, you know, if these side events or whatever take place on Sunday, and you're in the top cuts, obviously you don't get to play in that one. So there's 16 or 8 people, whatever. I don't care about that. But regardless, if the side event of choice is not your favorite one, are you going to play in it? But they made a choice to support one.
Yeah.
But then if in the same day there's another side event around the same time that supports the third format, the one that you really do care about, are we just diluting our own pool?
Here's a question for you that I'm gonna ask, and you're allowed to not answer it, obviously, with your thing. I think that this whole plan of we want to play a second format, right? And you can even toss in boss battles in this conversation, right? If that's the extra way that you want to play the game, you can also toss in sealed, you can or limited, right? Sealed or draft in this conversation if that's an extra way that I want to play the game. I think the only way that this works is if you think that standard is in a good enough, healthy enough spot to be content with it, to split focus into introducing a new way to play the game, right? And so my question for you is do you think that standard UVS games, all of it, as a player from the outside looking in, do you think that standard is healthy enough for somebody to be dedicated, the team to be dedicated, to be also being like, let's make a secondary format happen?
Yeah, I think it's easier because you just scale it, right? Like, I think the other thing too to bring up is like, well, if standard is the one of choice, based like off of what hardware UVS says, teams is just standard.
Yeah.
But like, again, just providing the event for people to go do the thing in, you can just you can copy paste standard and you can still use it again. Like we have literally another format that does that, right? And then you don't have to do basically any extra work, right?
Yeah.
Because if you do believe one is healthy, then the other one will be. And instead, the metagame or the strategy is when you put 3 people on a team versus another 3 people, there's a different layer here. And deck choices and stuff like that matter, right? So like I think there are solutions to what you're talking about, but like I think if there's another format, yeah, I don't think there's any issue with again, I don't have any qualms with there being like a group of people that are in charge of B&E for said new format, and they couldn't do a good job. I don't think that's unrealistic,
Yeah.
genuinely.
Yeah.
But I think the reality is that what I think is unrealistic is us having 5 formats and none of them are the same.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
That I think is the problem,
Yes.
and that's why I'm saying like genuinely like I think if people are interested in something like this, I would like to know. I would like to know interest, and I would like to know numbers. Me personally, I don't care. Not as an employee. Personally, I would like to know what would win the race.
I do think that there is a world where even at the size of our game, that there is a 5 formats that you can play, even with the player base that we do have. But I think that you're not allowed to just introduce here's 5 ways to play the game, right?
No, I don't disagree with that. But I'm saying
Yeah.
if from the scenario that we have right now, which is
Yeah.
UVS Games supports one format.
Yes.
Let's add the second one. What would win?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is the number 2 choice? That's what I'm asking. Is like if UVS Game says we're going to support one more format, there will be a Sunday side event at every regional that is of this tournament, and here is X prizing for it. What would win? I'm interested in that. I care about what that is. And if the people that are interested enough to make that vote and make that choice, how strongly do you care about that opinion? You should talk to some organized play people, because that's where stuff like that moves. It's not me. So don't think it's me. I'm not in charge of that. Like, but if somebody in my company goes, "Hey man, we're supporting this thing. We need to put some B&E on it," that becomes part of my job. But I mean, it is not up to me on what is chosen to be played at these events. I genuinely think it's up to the people and what they want to see, and I think that they should voice their opinions if that's something that they're interested in.
I agree. I'm actually making a poll in my Discord right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
But why can't I just blame you for everything that's inconvenient? You're more than welcome to. The amount on the scale of do I care though is probably going to change.
Give me a. I don't want common ground as the name. Low rarity. No. URs.
Or promos, right? No URs, no
Slash-
promos.
SRs. / promos.
Specifically, like mechanically unique stuff, right? I assume is what we mean.
Sealed. Draft. Boss battle. Okay, I've got team standard retro, teams retro, low rarity, sealed draft, boss battle.
Heroic teams, because you can make this a separate thing. Like
heroic.
I mean,
MHA 1 forward. Add another.
okay, you have
answer.
heroic teams. You could do heroic low
Teams.
rarity. Like again, like there,
Heroic.
and you ready? In the same conversation, all those things you could do with retro. So you can do retro teams, retro base. I don't know what's the base version, but whatever. And then you could also say retro, uh, low rarity. Like you can keep
Yeah.
going. Like you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
make
yeah.
the tree. Like if you want to make the tree, but like again, out of all of these choices, because you've already got 9 things on here,
Yeah.
what's the one? And
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer would be, but like it might surprise us. I don't know.
I'm
Because like I would be in the boat of I think retro wouldn't win. Genuinely.
I'm putting it on, and I'll put it on for a. I'll put it on for a week, and I'm not allowing multiple answers. They got to pick one, and I'm gonna at everybody.
Yeah, make them pick one. Yeah.
Make your voice heard for the Super Show next week, please, and thank you. Boop. I will message all of these people. Hell yeah. Dope. 6 days left to vote. I've made a I made a thing. Yeah. It'd be fun and interesting to look at. But with that, guys, I think that's gonna do it for our show. Thank you all so much for hanging out and answering questions with us. This was fun. This was super super fun. Good talk with Shree. I really liked that chat about what's up. I even like this chat. I think with the introduction of Silver Age and like everybody that is both excited and nihilistic about that format in the other game, it made me think about our game and like what could we possibly do, you know, just to glaze them a little bit more. And even like me and you have talked about sealed and draft pretty heavily in our own private time, and we're not gonna talk about that at all on the air.
But that is a separate similar conversation,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
100%. So with that, thank you everybody for hanging out. I do greatly appreciate it. It was an absolute blast. We'll catch you all next episode as we hang out and chat. Goodbye, everybody. We are no longer recording. Yo, already have 17 votes. That's crazy. Show results. Interesting. I think you're a mod. I think you can also see the results of this poll. But anywho.
Yeah, but I'm gonna vote. I don't know when I'll vote, but I'll vote at some point.
Yeah. I don't know what to vote for.
I do.
17 votes, 16 viewers. We made it beyond everyone in here. Hell yeah. I also have a couple of viewers on YouTube that you guys can't see. So there it is. I, Barrett, have to let you go. I have to draft for next week with Barlow after this.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's fine. Have a good weekend. Good luck.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna go 0-3 drop and be really sad. So
that's okay. Then you can play Riftbound all weekend.
Yeah, which will be excited. Which will be exciting. I gotta figure out.
Sorry, go ahead. You're gonna figure out
how much Mount Lady a misfortune deck is going to cost me. Probably $1 billion.
I don't think it's as bad as you think. I think the problem is like all of your creatures are epics or higher.
Yeah.
Epics or higher.
Yeah.
Which is fine, I guess.
Snap Vines, Dreadmoths, the Aurora, I'm sure is gonna be up there, and then
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The deck build around cards for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll figure it out. But I think the good news is that I think again in a similar vein, while you're building towards getting those copies of cards, it's okay to play the rune drakes.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, here's my rune drake for 10 might, and you're like, okay, good enough. You know, and your legend still enables you to do a little bit of movement. You know, so
yeah.
So I think it'll be okay. I don't know, because like I would like to own a set deck, but the problem is that entire deck is booster pack cards, right? Like that is like I have to also get all this stuff. So
yeah.
We will see.
That's
fine. Awesome. It'll be good. I'm going to be doing Halloween stuff and some Riftbound stuff, so I'll have my work cut out for me. And then we're in November, so then we got whole exciting things coming that way.
I'm gonna hit them to a be right back screen. I'm gonna mute up and I'm gonna ask you a question. Okay.
Okay.
All right. 1 second. Chat, don't worry about him. Hello. Hello. I need to. I have to find a post somewhere in here. I do this, and then I. Okay, perfect. And then I send this over here. Okay. I'm now going to jump into this spot. And I will wait for Barlow to come join me over here. And see if we can get this this draft rocking. I think that'll be fun. Bring this here. Bring this here. Tier list maker my account. And then did you save? You did. Hell yeah. And I would like presentation mode. Share my screen. It's crazy. I see Barlow in the chat, right? He was in the chat talking about me murdering Barrett. And then he's just like not here anymore.
Oh, I was muted. What's up?
Hello. Hello. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm well. I'm swell. Excited for the draft. Excited to catch
Me
up.
too.
Honestly, I'm excited to hang out with my friend Barlow for
Wow,
the next.
I'm excited to hang out with my friend Tam.
You got like what, 3 hours to just vibe with me? It's only 9 o'clock, almost. You know, we gonna hang out till midnight or later, or?
I do have to be at work pretty early, but I can hang out for a while.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. First and foremost, hello. How are you? How was your trip?
I'm doing good.
Heard you
It was
won the whole
nice.
thing.
That's a lie. I did. I'm improving, and it's been a lot of fun. So good to hang out with some friends this weekend and play some cards.
Let me ask you. Try to be as game agnostic as possible. Every time I come back from a major that I play in, I like think about how did I level up? What was the one thing that I got? What was the one thing that I like learned or whatnot? How did you level up from this event?
I think I just I could tell that as I was playing, I was getting better.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think about how to put that a little more specifically. Like, I noticed my play improve even within the match and from game to game.
Yeah.
Like, just knowing, um, oh, I let them use their resources here when they wouldn't have used their, like, when they wouldn't have been able to use resources, and I let them get some extra value. So next game, I'm not going to let them get that value there. I'm going to make
Yeah.
them pass to their next turn and then do my thing. So
Becoming
just
more
kind of little,
consciously competent. It's a big step.
yeah. So just improving a little by little every time.
I dig it. I dig it. Let me catch you up on the draft.
Alrighty.
Because we got some big swingy ideas happening draft-wise.
Ooh, I'm
First
excited.
and foremost, yesterday, nope, 2 days ago, as on Tuesdays, I had Paul Butler take your spot. And I now have a new
Yes.
tab for guest characters.
Okay.
These are the 4 characters that he picked. Oh, sorry, it was not this one. It was somebody else. It was this one. Whoop. He played these 4 characters. He was going to play Vash. Did not play Vash. And so these are no longer in the draft for either of us because they've been played.
Okay.
If you wanted him, you should have picked him
Perfect.
earlier. Sorry. He did
Sucker.
to the point where he was like, I want to play Bert 2. And I was like, no, you don't get to play Bert 2. It's already been played. You got to play somebody else. And I played all 4 of my characters against him. So I have a
Excellent.
fresh draft.
Okay.
My question for you is, how do you want to handle this Mickey Mouse of a draft that we have now? Because you have to throw back 2, and I've played. I get 8 fresh picks, 8 beautiful fresh picks. Do you want me just to pick my 2 at the end? Do you want me to pick my 2 first so that you have some information? And between one of those 2, I'm forced to play one of them next week. However it is that you want to do this, I am down because it's Mickey Mouse, and I want to make sure that we're on the same page.
I think you pick your 2 up front. We start on the same page,
Mhm,
and then
mhm.
you don't have to play one of them next week if you don't want to, but you can.
Okay, I think that's super fair. Do you want to send the 2 back before I pick, or do you want me to pick first?
I'll ship my 2 back now. That works. I'll ship
Okay.
back Jean Kirstein, dependable competitor.
Could not figure him out, huh? That's fine. Me neither.
Oh, I didn't even think about it.
Oh, you just didn't want me to have him. This is a hate draft.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It was a hate draft.
I was gonna go crazy. I found pick 1.
And I'll throw back Erwin.
Erwin, you're gonna give me the chance to play Erwin? That's so sick.
You can pick him if you want, Cameron.
I love that. Now, here's even better news for you. I won't
What?
pick. We have added 2 new characters. We have both Dorian and Fern. Because you
Mhm.
have not had a chance to pick those characters, I'm not just going to snap them both from you. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
That's so generous. Thank you.
I know I'm a nice guy. But I am going to pick some cool ones. I think I made a promise to somebody that I would pick one this character if I was given the opportunity to. And I like this person a lot, maybe even love this person. And so for my first pick that you can all but guarantee I will be playing next week, I will be playing Hood.
Ooh, okay.
I was
Good.
asked to figure out what the fuck Hood's got going on. So
Hell yeah.
out of nowhere. And so from here, I now have a second pick. I think my second pick is going to be Garug. We're going for 2 beefy 5-handers as my first 2 picks.
Okay.
I
Very
lost
cool, very
last
cool.
week. Ryu came in clutch and defeated my Reiner deck in the
The World
finals.
Warrior knocked it down.
The World Warrior knocked it down. Breaker 3, pretty good when you like build 2 foundations or whatever. So you get the choice. You want first pick, last pick, or you want the double picks?
I think I'm gonna go with double picks, Tam. I'll let you have 3 in a row here.
3 in a row. Oh my goodness, it's my birthday. Okay. A third pick for little old me. There's a lot of characters on here that I'm so surprised that we haven't drafted.
I agree as I'm looking at it.
Like you take a break and you take a look at it and you go, holy cow, how did we miss so many of these? And so What I think I'm going to do is I have some picks that I want to save for a little bit later. But I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to play Dorian. I think Dorian is cool.
Heck yeah.
I'm picking another 5-hander. I'm still 5-hander pilled in my current UVS life. But that was my first pick. You get the doubles.
Oh, I guess a good important question to ask is the Shadow Monarch bundle, is that part of the legal cards we can play?
So they are not on Ultra.
Okay.
Are they on Ultra?
I have no idea. Let me check.
If they're on Ultra, I will say that they are game.
The cards themselves are on Ultra, so
Okay.
I'm checking. We've got Bear Bite and Shadow Sorcery, and all those are on Ultra.
If they are on Ultra, and you can make really, really high quality picture ones, so that when I scroll over it, they are beautiful, and you have to import them in and do the thing, you're more than welcome to do so. I do not mind.
All right. Well, I am a fan of what Sung Jinwoo has going on in his Shadow Monarch form, and I think it might be kind of real. So if I can get the images to work,
Yes.
I think I might do it. So I will snap up Sung Jinwoo, E-Rank Hunter.
I just want the pictures to be really, really nice. I don't want big blurred garbage, because it is more important that people can see and know what's going on rather than.
Absolutely. I totally understand. If I can't get it to work, well, I wasted a pick. It's fine though. This guy's sick.
I love it. I agree. I think this guy's very good.
And I think if you can get past the level 1 hump, I think this the Shadow Monarch tree is very cool. Ooh, and then we've got some more picks. I'm gonna go with a tried and true favorite of mine. I'm gonna pick up Tamaki Amajiki.
Amajiki. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.